Hey guys, welcome aboard. It's Friday night again. Welcome to the man cave. It's been a hot week here, Western North Carolina. It's been a long day. I managed to get the grass cut today, and that's a chore when it's 90 plus degrees outside and like a sauna with the humidity. I'd like to welcome everybody. We're going to have a drink like we always do. Uh, Let me know where you are, who you are, and what you're having to drink with me tonight. Let me get the comments up here where I can see what's going on. Jeff's with us. Jeff's got his Eagle Rare out. I think, yeah, man, I love the Eagle Rare. I do. That's one of my top three so far. And, yeah, we got a few more rolling in here. Tonight, I'm going to have a little bit of this Knob Creek, this 12-year-old Knob Creek. This is really good, and it's a really fine bourbon for what it is. I like it, and we're gonna pour a little bit of that here in my trusty Friday night glass. Craig's with us from Dallas. Andy's drinking beer. It's all right. Uh, I haven't done a beer in a while. Maybe I'll get some beer for 1 week. Randy, Randy likes that Woodford. I think that's Randy's house bourbon. I think he's going with that about every week. Alexander, welcome aboard. Yeah, Andrew, Highland Park. Oh boy. Uh, I've got some Highland Park. I don't have that one. Uh, the Highland Park that I have is the bottom end one. It's the only one. Uh, no, it's not the only one I found. It's the only one I found locally. Uh, I don't remember if I told the story in here. I've got a follower in here that introduced me to Highland Park and Scapa, and he lives on Orkney. He's an Orcadian, so he uh, he told me about the two distilleries on the island where he lives, and Highland Park is one of the two. And I did a little looking around, and let me tell you, it looks like Highland Park makes some incredible stuff. Ed, good evening. Glad you could make it with us. I saw some of the higher end Highland Park stuff at, I think it may have been at a Total Wine down in Georgia that I saw that, and it's pricey. It's above what I'd normally spend on whiskey. Uh, we'll have to look at that. We'll revisit that at some point if the occasion's ever right. I might go for that. But I'd love to know what you think about that Viking Scar. That it was on special. Yeah, I'm bad about buying stuff on sale, but some of that Highland Park I saw would have to be on a serious sale before I'd ever grab it because it's well over. Some of the stuff I saw was well over twice what I've paid for my most expensive bottles. So yeah, Alexander, it's good to have y'all here. I have a couple of fingers here of my Knob Creek Kentucky bourbon. So cheers. John's from Tasmania. It's fun bringing the whole world into my man cave. It's Australia's with us and Tasmania. I don't often get a lot of Europeans in here because it's late at night. It's like 11:30 in the UK, 11:30 p.m. And occasionally I get a few Europeans in here, but not very often. Uh, Brent, glad you could make it here with us. Let's see what Tanya's drinking. I think Tanya had some. Tanya,
Hey,
did you fire up the Jura tonight?
yes, I did.
What's happening?
Ooh. Tonight's what I call Tanya's special coffee. I like to put in one portion of milk, which is 20 seconds of steamed milk. It's about a half a cup of milk. Then I like to, over the top of that, pour in 8 ounces of coffee. And because it's nighttime, I had to do decaf. If I
Well,
don't
you could
be up
count.
all
You
night.
could counter the caffeine with some of that Bailey's Irish Cream I bought you.
So I forgot about that.
You've forgotten about that 2 weeks in a row. You wanted that.
Wait,
You
it
got
was
it cracked.
Kahlua, right?
Oh, maybe it was Kahlua. I don't remember. It was one or the other.
Well, you got to understand, John, it's week two of the start of the semester.
Yeah.
And really, for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the semester, my cognitive functioning is just somewhere else. But I had
Well,
that with some caramel on top. It's been really lovely.
yeah. Tanya's back to work after having been home all summer, so
Yeah.
she's a little discombobulated and she's a little bit out of touch with reality around here. So,
Yeah. I'll be honest,
Michael,
the first 2 or 3 weeks of the school, it's school, school,
yeah.
school, more school. Is there an
Well,
outside world other than school? I don't know.
yeah. Russ is with us. He's having a Willet Rye. So Tanya, I'm gonna drop you back down here a little bit. We'll
Okay.
bring you back. We'll bring you back. Okay. So yeah, it's that Jura. I still haven't started making video content on that Jura. I need to get on that, and I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna have to make it happen because I want to show you guys that thing. I want to. That thing's really amazing. It it makes some fantastic espresso and coffee drinks. It's fun to watch. It's just incredible at the how complicated and this there's stuff out there that's way more advanced than what we have. But I feel blessed to have that thing here. It really does a lot of nice cool coffee. So one of the things I want to roll off with here is last week when I stopped by the liquor store, they had this Wheatley vodka, and this is a vodka that's made by the people up at Buffalo Trace in Kentucky. I don't know that there's anything special about this vodka. It was not what I would consider to be overpriced. It was 21 or $22 for this 750 ml bottle. And the reason I bought another bottle of vodka is because I've got this a bunch of vanilla beans I needed to do something with, and this is just about I have 20. These are grade A Madagascar vanilla beans that I had bought not too terribly long ago because I've been making my own vanilla extract. So what I did was I cut the ends off of each end of these vanilla beans and then tossed all of it, including the ends that I cut off, right into the vodka and dated that bottle 8 months or so, 8 to 10 months down the road. This will be some of the finest vanilla extract you've ever had. I've got a bottle right now that I'm using that I made last year from Tito's vodka, which is it's a vodka that's made down in Texas somewhere. I don't know a whole lot about Tito's, but I just want to show you about, make your own vanilla extract. Good quality vanilla extract is expensive. And Sharon, I don't know if it's better than Tito's because to me, vodka is vodka. Uh, Vodka's got no flavor of its own. It's just an alcohol. It's something to jack up a mixed drink with, in my opinion. I don't drink vodka, but the fabulous thing about making vanilla extract with vodka is that when you open up a bottle of that's been steeping for a while and take a whiff of that, what you smell is pure vanilla. It is the most beautiful smell of vanilla I've ever had. And I make vanilla extract two ways. I make bourbon vanilla and I make vodka vanilla. And in the bourbon vanilla, the aroma, the vanilla aroma you get is not quite as strong and as clean as it is when you do it in vodka, but the resulting extract is sweeter because of the bourbon, and it's I like cooking with it, and I cook with both. You know, it depends on what I'm doing as to which one I'll use, but I've got a good bit. I've got a 750 ml bottle of Knob Creek, the 9-year-old Knob Creek, in the cabinet with vanilla beans in it, and I've got a couple of pints, or a couple of the 375 ml bottles of Maker's Mark with vanilla beans in it as well. And those have all been in for a year. They're prime. They're all ready to go. So give that a thought. You know, if you ever want to try making your own vanilla extract, I had a look. Um, I can't remember if I looked on Amazon. I think it was on Amazon. Bryce, nice you can make it with a four roses single barrel. I think I've got a little bit of that. Nope, I finished that one off. I don't have any more of that one, but that's a good bourbon also. But the uh, I don't think it really matters. You don't need to use high end bourbon or vodka to make vanilla extract. You can make excellent vanilla extract with cheap vodka, and I don't think you'd be able to really tell a difference in it. But I was looking at prices. Good quality, high end vanilla extract is expensive, and I think it's cheaper to make. I was looking at vanilla bean prices the other day also, and vanilla bean prices have come down since I bought the batch that I have. When I bought what I have now last year, those beans were $1 a bean. 20 vanilla beans was $20, and now I'm sorry, they were $2 a bean. 20 vanilla beans was $39, and no, I'm lying to you. They were $1.50 a bean. 20 vanilla beans was $30, and now they're about $1 a bean. You can get these on eBay. There are some great vendors on eBay selling vanilla beans in bulk like this at some very reasonable prices. And I just had a look at those this week to see where they are, and they're $1 a bean now. They're about 50. They're a little bit less expensive than they were when I bought mine. So you need 20 beans, and if you really want to go hardcore, you could put 30 beans in a bottle of vodka. So I think 20 is about right for me. And the you end up with 24 ounces. A 750 ml bottle is roughly 24 ounces, and if you went and bought 24 ounces of a really high grade vanilla extract, you're going to spend anywhere between 50. No, you'll spend $75 to $90 probably for that, and you can make it for 40. You can make it for half of what it's going to cost you to buy it, and it's it's just something that you want to try. If you bake and if you use vanilla, I highly recommend giving it a try. But don't buy your vanilla beans at your local market because they're stupid expensive that way. Go to eBay and do an eBay search for vanilla beans. You might try Amazon also. I haven't looked at Amazon, but I've got a vendor that I've been buying from on eBay that's been really good. So don't forget to leave me a comment of where you're watching from tonight. Stephen Hickey in there with us. I saw Tom Cleveland said something. No, Tom, we're not going to make vanilla with tequila. No, I don't do tequila anymore. I had one in my younger days. I had some difficult times with tequila, and sometimes the aroma of tequila makes me want to hug the toilet. I think some of you probably know where I'm coming from on that. So, okay. we were going to talk about steaks tonight to start with. I had a great steak cook this week. Let me introduce you to a new accessory that I bought for my Napoleon gas grill. This is a charcoal. They call this the charcoal smoker, the charcoal and smoker tray. Eric, good to have you with us. This is cast iron. It's some sort of cast iron basic tray that sits in the Napoleon grill. In this picture right here, I've got it sitting in there on the heat shields, but ultimately I took the heat shields out because this thing needs to sit down, and I think this thing doesn't really come with any instructions, and I've been playing around with some ideas that I learned in the Napoleon gas grill group on Facebook. I was asking around. There's a lot of people that have had hit and miss success with this, but if you set this thing on the burner tube tent rack, it'll sit right down on those and be elevated from the burners, and you can use the burners to light your charcoal. You know, you dump charcoal out. It's also got this little container here on the back where you can put wood chips, but I ended up using that, and I put some wood chips right in with the charcoal. But this is kind of how this thing works. But that's just some pictures of the basic item that I bought. I paid $50 for that, and I think it's a great add-on for a gas grill. It brings me to a question, though. I'm really curious about who the customer is for that item, because in my mind, you guys know I'm charcoal, but I do like cooking on my gas grill. But here's the deal: why would I spend $50 for an accessory to use on my gas grill so I could cook, so I could make a charcoal cook on my gas grill? And why wouldn't I just buy a charcoal grill? Matthew works nice. He says the smoke airflow in the Napoleon isn't great though; it just kind of escapes everywhere. Yeah, it does, but it's not. This is not designed to be a smoker. This is just giving somebody the ability that's a gas grill guy to cook over charcoal. And for what it's worth, this great big tomahawk I bought, this is almost a 3-pound tomahawk, and I seasoned it up with this Atlanta Grill Company Himalayan Sherpa, and I let that ride in the refrigerator for 4 or 5 hours seasoned. But here you see the charcoal tray. It's now sitting down on the heat shield tents, and I think it was probably designed to go this way. I put my charcoal in there. This is some of that Jealous Devil charcoal briquettes. And then I just lit the burners underneath that charcoal tray. And I left the burners on for about 10 minutes, and this is where we are at that point. And I turned the burners off, and I just let that charcoal ash over. And it took it probably 20 minutes or so to finish ashing over. So this was a 30-minute process to get this ready. I'm not 100% sure that it's not a better solution to use a charcoal chimney to light the charcoal in and then just dump it in this tray and be good to go. Let's see what Levi's saying here. My gas grill came with one as part of a bundle. Haven't understood when to use it, so glad to see you trying. Yeah, Levi, I bought this because I think if a gas grill was all I had, I would definitely have this accessory, because this is something that I mean, I really do most of the time prefer cooking over charcoal. But anyway, we got this going, and then I just put one of my grill grates in there. These Napoleon grill grates are super heavy. They're really good, but I was going to cook this ribeye tomahawk, and I wanted to sear it first because that's what I do. That's the way I cook mine. And I figured I would just put one of my grill grates in and I would sear it. And then when I was done, I'll just slide that grill grate over to the other side and finish it over indirect heat. But what I need to show you here, I don't have a picture to show you this, but once I got that charcoal lit, as soon as I turned my burners off, I took a quarter sheet pan and slid it up underneath there and let that quarter sheet pan sit on the burner tubes where any ash or anything that falls out of this tray would be collected in that quarter sheet pan rather than falling down on my burner tubes. I do not like the idea of letting ash and any kind of food grease from the cook drip directly onto my burner tubes because uh, keeping those burner tube holes clean and open and keeping the burner tubes themselves free of debris is important on a gas grill to keep it working properly. So here we are. I've got this charcoal heating up, and I took a little saucepan. This is a little butter. I think they call this a butter warmer pan. This is an all-clad pan that I bought. It's a little small. It's a half a quart. I melted some ghee in that pan while things were warming up here. And this is my tomahawk after I took it out. Clay, welcome aboard. You're in the market for a good quality gas grill. Yes, I recommend Napoleon. There's a lot of great gas grills out there, and I'll be upfront and honest with you. Napoleon provided me with the one I have, and I'm very fortunate to have that grill. But my suggestion to you is, yes, I love this Napoleon grill, but you need to go look at it. Go look at some and look at everything that's available to you. And when you see the Napoleon and when you see the Webers and when you see everything else that's out there, your decision will be made. If you're looking for top quality, you're going to find it there with the Napoleon. So yeah, thanks for asking. But this is what that looked like after I took it out of the fridge. Andrew, welcome back. And I drizzled some of that melted ghee on both sides of this steak before I tossed it over the flames. And as you can see, my steak was cold, so the ghee re-solidified on the cold steak, which is okay. But I wanted some of that ghee on there because that ghee helps form a nice sear and a nice crust. So I cooked this guy. I kept it moving fairly well. And the video for this cook got published today, by the way. So it's on Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page and YouTube channel. So I kept this thing moving and flipped it around several times until I got the sear that I wanted. And then I just moved it over to the other side of the grill to let it finish. I wanted a medium rare cook on this steak. So it took another 20 or 30 minutes over there to get to that. And here's what we ended up with. And if you've got any comments about how that looks, I'd love to see it. In my opinion, that's about as good as it gets. Yeah, Chris, you definitely want to give this a try. James wants to know when I'm coming back down to Atlanta Grill Company. If everything goes well and something doesn't come up, I'm going down next Friday. I'm gonna run down there for a quick visit next Friday. I think Luca told me that Jeff, if you're still in here with me, are you going by Atlanta Grill Company next Friday? Luca said he thought you might be, so I might go down there Friday just to visit. Anurag, welcome aboard. But this steak, this is a good quality sear. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, Jeff says you're going. So yeah, I might go down there and visit with those guys. I'd like to go see their new warehouse space, and I might try to get down there and go visit the shop. The last couple times I've been down there, Gary has not been in the shop. He's been over in the warehouse, and I bought a new camera that you guys haven't got to see much of yet, but it's one of these 360-degree action cameras. It's really cool, and I want to use that camera and do a walkthrough tour of Atlanta Grill Company with it. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I might try to get down there next Friday. So, anyway, let me show you the money shot. That's not the money shot. Here's the money shot. This is what I ended up with, and I've got a perfect medium rare cook there that I was just blown away with. Those are two huge pieces of steak, and this is what I cooked for lunch on Thursday, by the way, or no, on Wednesday. Uh, but I ate half of this smaller piece over here, and then I vacuum sealed the other two that I'll reheat and have additional meals out of that later. So, but that came out perfectly. And if you want to see the video of this process, go check. The video's published. Michael says his wife doesn't cook anymore. Tanya will attest to that. Tanya doesn't mind me doing the cooking around here, and Tanya cooks, but I cook a lot as well. So that's that's where we ended up on the steaks. Now that's the steak I cooked this week. One, I have ordered a new toy that I don't have in my grubby little hands yet. Uh, I ordered it from Atlanta Grill Company, and it hasn't shipped yet, so I'm not sure what the holdup on it is. I'm going to have to ask or find out. Normally, I assume they might not have the inventory or something, but steaks. Every time I think I know how to cook a perfect steak, something comes up that tells me there might be yet a better way, and something else I want to try. So, Atlanta Grill Company sells these Auto Wild salamander style broilers, and I've ordered one of those. It's not here yet. I was kind of hoping it would be here this week, but like I said, it hasn't shipped. I ordered it Tuesday, or I think I ordered it Monday or Tuesday, and I haven't got a shipment notification on it yet. So I'll have to see what's going on. But if you're not familiar with that, look forward to seeing that, because that's coming. Uh, if you've seen the salamanders, I want to experience that, and also there's a lot of other things I'd like to do under a broiler. So, last week when I was talking about I'm wanting to buy a new smoker or something, after everything's said and done, this is what I decided to buy instead of a new grill or smoker. And I will still be buying one of the new PK grills, either the PK 300 or the Aaron Franklin model, once I figure out which one of those I want. But that was going to be coming anyway. I was still looking for something else, but I think the salamander is going to be a fun addition around here, because it'll give me an opportunity to do something that's different. So we will be experiencing that. I've seen some really cool steak cooks done with the salamander, both by reverse sear and by sear first. And once again, I'm a sear first guy. Yeah, Stephen was looking at one. Stephen, which one were you looking at? There's a bunch of them out there. The Auto Wild is a little pricey compared to a lot of them. There's a which one did you look at, Stephen? Let's see what he's not sure if he's still with me here. Maybe there's quite a few of them out there, and I actually looked at a lot before I pulled the trigger on the Auto Wild. I looked, and there's some cheap ones out there too. There's some, okay, yeah, there's some that are in the $250 range, and there's some that are in the $1,200 range. And the Auto Wild is at the upper end of the scale, but it's not a $1,200 one. The Auto Wild version I bought is they have three different models, and I bought the middle model, or that's the one I'm hoping to get. And like I said, I don't have it yet, but I like broiling things and I like cooking things under the broiler. There's some things that cook real well under a broiler, and a steak is one of them. Some of these high-end steak houses, this is how they prepare these steaks. I want to put my sear on these steaks, and then I want to finish them in a pan with butter and garlic and rosemary. I want to do that because these steaks that are bathed in that butter, garlic, and rosemary after they get the sear, they're just so amazing. It's kind of like a Peter Luger. If you've ever watched video, I've never been to Peter Luger, by the way, so don't let me try to fool you there. If I ever get back up to New York City, I might try to find a way to eat there. Just so that's kind of a bucket list meal for me is Peter Luger. So one of these days, I might be able to make that happen. But with steaks, I've cooked steaks every way I can think of, and as a lot of you know, my favorite method is sear first and then finish over indirect heat to finish it up. That's my favorite results, and that's my favorite method of searing first is searing on a soapstone with ghee, and that's why I put ghee on that tomahawk before I started it because that does improve the quality of the sear, in my opinion. But I know most people are into reverse sear. Most people want to do that reverse sear method because the steak does take on more of a smoke flavor when you do that. But once again, I don't want everything I eat to taste like smoke, and I get some smoke when I'm finishing the steak over indirect heat because one thing you don't see in these pictures that I made, I don't remember if I showed it in the video or not, but a little bit of that ghee that I had left over, that melted ghee, I basted that steak with it a time or two while it was on the indirect side of the grill, and that picks up smoke as well. But there's a lot of different ways to pull this off, and I want to try this. So I'll try to figure out when I'm going to get that salamander, because when I get that salamander, I'm going to want to do a walk around demo video of that device itself before I actually cook on it. Matthew, in the long run, in the greater scheme of things, there's not a huge difference, but the soapstone, I don't know how to put this simply. This gets geeky. The soapstone has more thermal mass than the cast iron. I'm not sure about the thermal mass difference between the soapstone and the baking steel. I have never tried searing steaks on my baking steels. I've got a couple of those around here, so maybe I'll try it sometime. The baking steel takes longer to preheat than the soapstone does, so it might have more thermal mass, but I think probably either one of those would do a better job than the cast iron. And the cast iron does well with one exception. When you put your steak on the cast iron to sear it, when you get ready to flip it, you need to put it on a different space on the cast iron because the cold steak or the cooler steak will suck all of that heat that's stored in the cast iron right out of it. And if you flip it and put it back down in the same spot, it's going to take it a lot longer to sear that other side. The soapstone, it's not so much the case because the soapstone has a higher heat retention and it will deliver that searing heat for a lot longer period of time than the cast iron will. I don't know how to scientifically, or I don't know how to put data behind that. All I can tell you is from the experience. From the experience I've had, I love the soapstone. The soapstone to date is my favorite searing surface, and I've seared on cast iron. I've seared over direct flames. I sear in cast iron pans. With a cast iron pan, sometimes you can get a good heat delivery by having it over open flame, but the problem I've got with that is if you're using something like the Kamado Joe cast iron griddle, it's okay, but I'm not going to put my Finex pans over direct flame like that because it'll burn the seasoning off of them. I don't care about burning the seasoning off of my Kamado Joe cast iron because I don't worry about keeping them seasoned. When I'm done with those things, I clean them off, I spray them down with cooking spray, and I put them in a plastic bag and store it there until I'm ready to use it again. Okay, Stephen, I'm going to call you on that. How much was that salamander? What was the price tag? Steven's pulling my chain right now, is what he's doing, because that Twin Eagles salamander had to have been $5,000. I'm gonna take a guess at $5,000. How much was it, Steven? That may be why he was just looking at it. He doesn't have it already. Oh boy, man. Twin Eagle stuff is top notch. That's like Heston. That's like Heston Blumenthal stuff. It's crazy expensive. They've got some of this Twin Eagle stuff at Atlanta Grill Company, and it's top notch. It's for the guy who is parking a Ferrari in his garage. The cart, he says, was $14.99. So yeah, there you go. Steven's teasing us. Well, yeah. Steven, when you get that, let me know, because I'm going to drive out to Nashville and you and I are going to shoot a video on it. I'm coming to see you when you get that. Just let me know. But anyway, that's where I am on steak. You know, I want to try this broiler method. And once again, hey guys, the broiler, that's not going to bring smoke at all to the party. So here we go. You know, this is getting away from the grill altogether. What else did we get done this week? Brisket. Yesterday, I cooked brisket. And a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I were down at Costco, and I noticed that the prime grade briskets were $3.99 a pound, which is a little more than they normally are. I think the normal going rate for the prime briskets at Costco was $3.49 a pound. But the last few times I've looked at briskets, these guys have been $5 a pound and higher. So even up around $6 a pound. And even at my local Sam's Club, after I saw this, I said, well, brisket prices are coming down, so I'm going to go ahead and cook another brisket. I went to Sam's Club earlier this week, and those briskets were still $5 and something a pound. So I asked my wife, I said, would you mind running down to Costco with me one night this week? So we went down to Costco, and I bought this 12.8 pound brisket at $4 a pound, which is, that's reasonable for a prime grade brisket. I don't really have a problem at $4 a pound. $3.50 a pound would have been better, but what, it's going to save me $6 on a $50 brisket. It's not that big a deal one way or the other. So I bought this guy, you know, and this brisket, another reason I wanted this one is because this, in my opinion, is the right size brisket. The best brisket results I've ever had are briskets that are in the 12 to 13 pound range. I don't know why that is. I don't have an explanation for it, but the meat quality, for some reason, is always better for me at that range. You know, I've cooked full packer briskets that have weighed 9 pounds. I've cooked full packer briskets that have weighed 20 or 21 pounds, but this is the space I like to be in. I like to be in at this 12 to 13 pound range, and this one was perfect. So I got this guy out yesterday. I cooked this yesterday, so I took it out and started trimming the fat off the backside of it. And once again, I like to leave, you know, a quarter of an inch or so, maybe even a little more. It's not that big a deal because I cook fat cap down. And then I wanted to trim up the top side. And what happens for me is I like to trim here and get all of that membrane off. That membrane is something I like to make sure I get it all off, and I clean up the edges. But I didn't trim this particular brisket very aggressively. And after everything was said and done, you can see in the upper right hand corner of this picture, there's my trimmings up there. I've got right at 3 pounds of fat trimmings off of that brisket. So if you want to look at that at $4 a pound, there's $12 worth of fat that I took off that brisket. I saved this. I put it in a vacuum seal bag. It's in my refrigerator. I'm going to make a video this coming week on how to turn that into beef tallow. I don't have any more. I wish I had 2 or 3 briskets worth of fat saved, but I don't, because I haven't cooked any briskets lately. But we're going to turn that into beef tallow, and I'm going to make a video out of that to show you that process. But I seasoned this brisket up with a 50-50 mix of my Atlanta Grill Company Man Cave Meals Pork Mojo and AP Mojo. Here's a picture of my trimmings. There's a little bit of lean meat in there, but not very much. And I seasoned this guy up and let it sit for a while, and then we tossed it on the Kamado Joe Classic 3. I fired up the Classic 3 with Kamado Joe Big Block charcoal, and I had a few small chunks of oak in there for some smoke. Now I'm going to tell you, but there's going to be a video for this cook maybe next week. I made video on this, but I don't know exactly when I'm going to publish it yet. But I ran into some problems on this. I won't call it a problem. I ran into some anomalies in what you would expect from a brisket in this cook, and it was the first time I had seen this kind of problem. This brisket cooked faster than most. So I'm cooking at 300 degrees. That's my go-to. And I was expecting this brisket to take 6.5 or 7 hours based on previous experience doing this. And, I'm letting it cook. And, oh, by the way, I don't have this in here. This little thermometer I bought this at a shop just to try out and see how I liked it. It's a Taylor brand, and it's a surface thermometer that you can set, an analog thermometer you can set on your grill grate and get your temperature there. So if you're ever interested in that was like $8, by the way. It's really nice. But I kept this thing cooking, and let me see where we are here. I just let it cook, and at this point right here, I think we're close to 4 hours, or maybe it's here we're close to 4 hours. Or no, right here. Let me back up. Right here, we're at about 4 hours into this cook. I put this brisket on the grill at 9 a.m. yesterday morning. And as you can see in this picture, my bark is just starting to set. You can see some of these darker places here and up across the top here, but over the majority of my brisket here, my bark is not set up yet. And typically, what I like to do is I like to foil my brisket. I like to wrap it up in foil once my bark is set. But I ran into a problem here, and I'm glad I actually looked at the temperature. I don't normally even take the temperature of the meat until my bark is set, but for some reason or another, yesterday, I started checking the temperature here, and in the flat, in the thicker part of the flat down here and up here in the point, I'm at 185 degrees. I'm at 185 after 4 hours on the grill at 300. So that's a problem. I've got to make a choice. And the choice I have to make here in that situation is, do I want a great bark or do I want great meat? Huzefa? Let me come back to that question. Tanya, I want to come back to that when we get to the end, when we stop talking about brisket. That's a good question. But I have to make a decision here. What's the most important part of a brisket cook? Is it the bark or is it the meat? Well, that's obvious that it's the meat. I'm going to have a brisket today that doesn't have an amazing bark on it because I need to wrap this. And I know some people don't wrap briskets, but I do, because my results when I wrap a brisket is I get the tenderness I need in the thinner part of the flat and up here in the thicker part of the point, because we're wrapping up and we're getting a steaming situation going on and a braising situation going on as this brisket renders its fat at that temperature. So I wrapped it. And unfortunately, I didn't take any more pictures after I wrapped and put it back on the grill. But this is what I have after the rest. And as you can see, my bark is not great. I've got down here, I've got some decent bark, and up here I've got some decent bark, but down in here I do not. That bark is not set up like you would want it to be, and it's not great bark, but I got great meat. This brisket, the texture and tenderness and flavor of this brisket's off the hook. I just don't have a great bark on it. I got a nice smoke ring. You can see that slow roller, guys. It's all I can say is it's magic. It makes beautiful smoke rings every time I cook on it. So don't ask me how. Ask the guys at Harvard how that works, because it does. But you know, I've got a beautiful brisket. It's tender. It's double over. I did a little clip in the video where I just kind of doubled that over either my finger or the knife, one or the other. So it came out perfect. It was beautiful. You know, everything about that cook was great except for the bark. So here's the situation. You know, bark is not everything. Bark, in my opinion, is not as important as the meat itself. So if you have to sacrifice one way or the other, you have to do it. Now, at the 4-hour mark, I wrapped that brisket and I took that brisket off the grill. I was at 207 and 208 internally in that brisket right before the 5-hour mark. So guys, every now and then brisket's gonna smack you. They're gonna well, I can't say it because my mom might be watching. They're gonna slap you around a little bit and they're gonna see if you're paying attention. And this is one of the reasons I don't do brisket that often. Brisket is a finicky piece of meat to cook. You cannot bank on anything you think or anything you know to happen. Sometimes briskets take an extremely long time to cook, and sometimes this is the first one I've had cooked that fast. Now, Huzaifa. I apologize, man, if I'm butchering your name. I don't think we've communicated directly before, but the question is, would you say 250 or 300 is a better temp to cook? On this brisket, if I had it to do over again, knowing what I know now, I would have cooked it at 225 or 250 and given my bark more time to set up. The situation you have to choose here, I don't know that one temperature is better than the other, because when I'm cooking briskets or butts, I do it one of two ways. If I'm going to cook in the daytime, where I want to start in the morning and finish late afternoon, I cook at 300 degrees because I can always get it done in that time frame. If I want to cook overnight, I cook at 225 where I can slow the process down. Which one is better? I don't really have a great answer. That's something you need to try, because briskets cook faster than butts. If we were talking specifically about butts, it'd be a little easier because the pork butt takes longer at 225 than the brisket does. But the first answer to your question is you need to try it both ways and see what you think. There is going to be a significant time difference between 250 and 300. The 250 is probably going to take you an hour a pound on a brisket. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but I would go with an hour a pound. At 300 degrees, it's going to take less than that. I can't give you a great estimate because, like I said, I would expect most of these briskets to be done This brisket, like I said, I was expecting it to take roughly 6 hours. I was looking at 4.5 to 5 hours unfoiled, and then another hour to an hour and a half in the foil is what I expected based on my experience, but it just didn't pan out that way. So not only is that an anomaly, but it's proof that you need to pay attention to what's going on in your cook. And you can't always judge everything you're going to do by the temperature of the internal temperature of the meat. You got to use your eyes. And I would have ruined this brisket if I hadn't stuck a meat thermometer in it there at about the 4 hour mark, because I would have left that on at least another hour or an hour and a half at unwrapped at 300 degrees. And if I had done that, I would have ruined it. I would have overcooked that brisket. So brisket's something that takes attention, and it takes a lot of practice. Brisket humbles some of the best pit masters I've ever seen every now and then. I'm sure Aaron Franklin can tell you some stories about bad briskets that he's cooked. He's not going to do it unless you ask him, but everybody's made bad briskets before, because there's no two pieces of meat out there that are created equal. So, but anyway, let's see. Joseph, glad you can make it with us. Let's see if I can read this question. I've done sirloin strips on my soapstone with clarified butter, and it turned out nice. Okay, I have an answer for that. And the key term you mentioned here is char. Uh, Char is okay, and as you can see on that tomahawk I cooked, I got some char on that tomahawk, which is what I wanted from that cook. When I'm cooking on the soapstone, my objective is no char. And I'm not saying that because I think char is bad, because I don't think char is bad. Char is good in some cases, but when I cook on a soapstone, what I am looking for is a perfectly and as even as possible caramelized crust. And that caramelization falls short of char. So if that makes sense, that's what I'm looking for there. And it's different, but it's in my opinion, not necessarily anybody else's opinion. In my opinion, that's the best result. But if you like the char, then do it. One of the things I've seen done recently is I'm constantly trying to learn new things, and I've been studying steak cooking technique for a long time. And one of the best results I've seen short of a soapstone cook is searing your steak over a charcoal chimney. Get like a Weber charcoal chimney and fill it 2/3 of the way full of charcoal, and then set a grill grate on top of it and sear on that. That makes a beautiful sear also. And I was actually watching a video with Kenji Lopez Alt and Adam, what's his name, from the what's that show on Discovery Channel, Mythbusters. It wasn't a Mythbusters episode, but they were looking at trying to figure out what the best way to sear a steak was. And I think the best results they got in that video was from the sear over the charcoal chimney. It was incredible. I would have never expected. They had cooked their steaks sous vide prior to that, and because all they were looking at was sear quality, they weren't looking at any flavor profiles or anything. But the results they got cooking over that charcoal chimney was incredible. And you've got a lot of heat coming there off of a charcoal chimney, because you've got a lot of what's called radiant heat. And when you've got a pit of charcoal 6 or 8 inches deep, that puts off an incredible amount of radiant heat, and it's concentrated right up that chimney. And I think they may have done 15, 20, 30 seconds aside to to finish those steaks off, and they were gorgeous. They looked amazing. And I'm looking for that same sort of thing with this salamander broiler, because I'm going to be able to get 1500-degree searing temperatures by getting that steak right up under that broiler. But I hope that answers that question. Uh, let's see here. All right, let me bring pictures back up. When we were talking about burgers again. One of the things I did this week was I posted this on Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page yesterday. I'm getting ready to start doing some hamburger videos, and I'd like to do a series of them. And thank you, Stephen Hickey, for that book once again. That's inspired me to want to do this. I think every good hamburger is anchored on a sauce of some sort. So I wanted to put together a couple of sauces. I posted another sauce on my Patreon page that's a little different, but this is one I posted out here publicly on Facebook, on Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page yesterday. This is a mustard-based sauce, and all it is mustard, sour cream, dried dill, and paprika. And this is a beautiful sauce. These are the pictures. I would love for each of you to try this. The recipe I posted on that I came up with, I posted this on, like I said, Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page, but it's a half a cup of spicy brown mustard, a quarter of a cup of sour cream, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and 1/2 teaspoon of dried dill. This is a beautiful sauce, and this, just as this sauce is, it's perfect for something like, you could put this on a burger, you could put it on a hot dog, you could put it on a sandwich where you want mustard, you could dip pretzels in this, anything you want a mustard that's over the top and not a typical mustard, give this a try. This mustard's amazing. And make it a day in advance if you can, so those flavors can have a little bit of time to do their job. And this is also a perfect launching point for 2 other mustards. If you want a mustard that really kicks hard, you can either add some cayenne pepper to this, or you can add some of your favorite hot sauce to taste. Just put however much in it. If you're using a hot sauce, put a couple drops in, stir it up, and keep tasting it until you figure out how much it needs to get to the level you want. The other direction you can go with this is turn this into a spicy honey mustard by adding honey to that and mixing it in, because it's going to make a great honey mustard. And once again, it's a taste. This is a great sauce, and it's probably one I'm going to use on some of the burgers that we're going to do, hopefully starting next week. My intention is next week we'll start this. Jonathan says his grandmother used to make sour cream, yellow mustard, and diced onion. Yeah. With corned beef. Yeah, corned beef and mustard. That's as German as it gets. Corned beef, I got no problem with that. I like mustard. My wife doesn't care for mustard, so she wouldn't touch this probably, but man, I'll eat mustard. I like dipping French fries in mustard. I like dipping, cooked potatoes in mustard. You could also tweak this recipe by what choice of mustard you make. You could use plain yellow mustard, or you could use stone ground mustard. And really, you could do Dijon mustard if you wanted to. But this, I just used this standard spicy brown mustard on this, and it's amazing. So, one more thing. On my Man Cave Meals Facebook page, I'm going to give away a $50 gift card to Atlanta Grill Company. I posted about this, and I know this won't won't get much of a response, but I'm doing it anyway. One of the things that comes up periodically in barbecue groups on social media is, what do you do when you're having a barbecue and you've got a vegan or a vegetarian or more than one coming? Well, those conversations usually turn into a bunch of we uh what is it, as Hank Hill would say, we politely but firmly ask them to leave, or whatever it is. It always turns into a joke, and it always turns into shaming the people that don't eat the same way you and I do. So I've taken that opportunity to figure out a way to be the guy who can make something that those vegetarians or vegans will really like. So I bought some tofu. Uh, that's what you see in the picture here. This is some organic, extra firm tofu. I've never touched this stuff in my entire life. So today I took this, I cut it into some slices, and I set it on some paper towels to try to dry it out as much as I could. This stuff was in water. It's kind of wet, and I know what's going to happen when you try to grill that. So I tried to get it dried out as much as I could. I made a marinade, and this marinade has soy sauce, olive oil, garlic powder, onion powder. Uh, what else did I put in there? I put some rice vinegar in that also, and maple syrup. That's what's in it. It's soy sauce, maple syrup, olive oil, rice wine vinegar, garlic powder, and onion powder. Tastes really good. That's a really good marinade. That's just something I've slapped together, but it's gonna come. That's gonna come back. I'm gonna do something else with this. I'm not sure what yet, because this is really good. But the paneer, yeah. Somebody else told me about paneer today, and I've got a question about that for anybody that knows anything about vegans and vegetarians. I think a vegetarian will eat cheese, but I don't think you can feed cheese to a vegan. And somebody else mentioned the paneer to me today, and I looked that up. So that might be something I'll look a little deeper into. But I'll let these guys marinate for a little while in this marinade that I made, and then I fired up my Kamado Joe pellet Joe, and I put my grill grate on there because I wanted to see if I could put some sear marks on these pieces of tofu. I ran the grill at a dome temp of about 400 degrees, and I tried to get some grill marks on there. I probably should have run it a good bit hotter because this tofu's got a lot of water in it. And I think next time I try this, I'm going to run the grill a lot hotter. And I was also occasionally basting these with some of that marinade as I was cooking. And I cut up a little bit of green onion to put on there. So what you see here is my finished product. And number one, I'm not happy with this. These these pieces of tofu had no firmness or rigidity to them at all. They're floppy, and they're mushy. Uh, I'm gonna have to come up with some other way to do this if I want to get successful with tofu. Somebody told me that I needed to try the extra firm tofu that they sell at Trader Joe's because it's got less water in it, and it's really hard to press the water out of this tofu. This is extra firm tofu, but it's still, it comes in a tub of water, and it's got a lot of water in it, and that's where we are. So anyway, my challenge to you is to go to my Man Cave Meals page and look at that post. It's pinned to the top, so you can't miss it if you go there. and your task is to come up with a main course item that's vegan or vegetarian. It's grilled, smoked, or otherwise, and you've got till the end of September to post your picture of that. And I've put a little requirement in there that when you take your picture, you've got to have your hand in that picture with a thumbs up, so I'll know that you took that picture during this time frame. And I'm going to pick the one that I think is the best recipe that somebody made. I'm gonna send you a $50 gift card to Atlanta Grill Company. And I didn't mention this, but I'm probably going to talk with you about turning your recipe into a video that I'll make and give you credit for the recipe. So I want I don't like to shame people for what they eat. And I know a lot of barbecue people, make lots of jokes about it, but rather than being the guy that says you can't come to my party, I'd rather be the guy that says I can cook something that's going to blow you away and it will fit your vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. So, what do you think about that? Have you guys ever had to cook something vegan or vegetarian for somebody that you're going to feed? I know a lot of us have, and I haven't. And I got to learn how to say that. He says, has it for vegan or vegetarian? You can go either way. Just indicate whether it's vegan or vegetarian when you post it. But I don't care if it's one or the other. I really don't care if it's one or the other. So I'm going to keep experimenting with tofu. I know there's a lot of things I can do. Uh, I could do grilled portobello caps. I could do cabbage steaks, and my wife and I have done cabbage steaks before, and she loves cabbage steaks. I'm gonna bring Tanya back up. Tanya, you like cabbage steaks, right?
Yes, I do.
And we've done those, and I may do that too, because that's easy to make. That's vegan, or that would qualify as, I don't know. I've made mine with teriyaki sauce, and I would have to look at teriyaki, but I think teriyaki would qualify as vegan. That's I don't think there's anything in there. The main thing you got to watch out for with vegans is Worcestershire sauce. Don't feed a vegan Worcestershire sauce because that's made from anchovies, and I didn't know that until recently. I think Chef Vivian Howard, Chef Vivian Howard from that PBS series. I saw her do something that she was talking about making it vegan or vegetarian, and she put Worcestershire sauce in it. And I my friend Chef Eric Gephardt, you guys know Eric. He knows Chef Vivian, and I sent Eric a message. I said, Eric, Chef Vivian just made something she said was vegetarian, and she put Worcestershire sauce in it. I said, is that legal? And he said, nope. Because I don't know. It's easy. It's easy to think about, you know, Worcestershire sauce and not think about the fact that Worcestershire sauce is made from anchovies. So, but guys, have a look at that. I'd love to have a bunch of people submit pictures to that and say, yeah, I gave this a try, and here's what I came up with. Uh, Inspire me, guys. I'm going to give you a $50. I'm going to pick the one I think's great. I'm going to give you a $50 gift card. Uh, that's not something Atlanta Grill Company's supplying, by the way. I'm paying for that. I haven't asked them to donate that. That's coming out of my pocket. I want to. It's worth $50 to me to get a handful of people to show me some great ideas on vegan and vegetarian things that are done on the grill. I
And
want to play
guys,
with tofu.
and guys, I appreciate it because I actually do like tofu. And at our back to school get together, they had barbecue chicken. And as you guys know, I don't eat chicken, but they also had some smoked tofu, and it was actually really good. I ended up eating every bite of it. So I'm excited to see what you're going to put out there too.
And Stephen Hickey made a comment here that I'm going to put back up on the screen. This is a problem I know about. I've heard this before, and it is what it is. I don't know how you're going to deal with it if you ever have to deal with it. But I've seen this comment before too. There are vegans out there that will not eat food that's been cooked on a grill where there's been meat cooked on the grill. And in that case, uh, if I was having a party and if I had invited people that were vegan, I would have to come up with menu items for them that was not cooked on the grill. And that's not what I'm asking you guys to do. If you want to cook a vegan dish and cook it on your grill where meat's been cooked, that's fine with me. I'm not going to hold that against you. Uh, but I understand sometimes the vegans are quite militant about their stuff. They don't want to cook. They might not let you cook in a pan that's had meat cooked in it before. If they won't let you cook on a grill that's had meat cooked, that's fine. I still won't shame that person for their beliefs. Uh, I won't. Everybody has their reasons for doing what they do, and Tanya knows I'm quite judgmental, right, Tanya? I
Well, one
can't
thing
fool
I
most
can
people.
tell you, it's very difficult being married to John Setzler because everybody envisions that I eat all this meat and that my steak is still mooing when it's slapped on the plate. And that's not the case.
Yeah,
I'm a little finicky about meat. And, for the most time, I've got a pretty thick skin and I just let things roll off me. But every now and again, it gets aggravating for someone to start in, well, you just run to get steak.
yeah.
Why even bother eating meat? Don't come to my house, that sort of thing.
Well, I used to pick on Tanya because Tanya will eat steak, but she likes her steaks well done. So I did the same thing with Tanya that I'd like to be able to do with this vegan and vegetarian problem. I took it upon myself to try to find how I can make a steak that makes Tanya say, "Damn, that was good." And
And
that's
he
what I do.
succeeded. I hate eating steak out now. I don't even want to have steak out because no one gets it right.
I make the best well done steaks she's ever had.
And John, this sounds fabulous. I know you're not a big avocado person, but I'd eat that.
Avocado. Anthony says, take an avocado, cut it in half, take the seed out. I'm guessing that's the seed.
Yeah.
Score it with big scores. It's Frank's hot sauce. That sounds good. I'm not an avocado fan, but I'd try that because I think the parm would bring that to something I'd like. Tanya, you know how you are. You don't like foods with certain textures.
Exactly.
Texture of avocado is something that just gives me the shivers. That stuff is slimy. It's something.
Well, it
It's not that I don't
depends.
like the flavor of it.
It depends on the avocado. If you get one that's ripe and not overripe and still holds its shape,
Yeah.
it's actually pretty darn good.
Well, the avocado with parm, that sounds interesting to me. That's something I would try. But parm turns it into a vegetarian dish, obviously, which is good. Like I said, make it vegetarian, vegan, whatever you want to do. Most vegetarians that I'm aware of will eat cheese. I don't think cheese is a problem for any vegetarian. Will vegetarians eat eggs?
Usually. Now,
Usually.
some of
See,
them won't, but
I don't
some.
know I don't know all the rules, so that's something you guys have got going in your favor. You could probably pull something off that broke a rule that I wouldn't catch because I don't know what the rules are. But what I'm looking for is, did you put steak in it, or did you put hamburger in it, or did you use Worcestershire sauce in it? Because those are the things I know about. You know, so have a look at that, and I would really. You've got a month. You've got what's today is the 27th. You've got more than a month. You've got till the end of September to take a picture of something and and show me how that's vegan. Stephen, I do not have a problem with the small pieces of avocado that are in or on the sushi I eat. Some of the dragon rolls I get have avocado on it, and I'm okay with that. That's good there. So, Cindy, glad you could make it with us tonight. But we're running along here. We're an hour and 15 minutes, and Tanya and I haven't had dinner yet. I'm hungry, so we're gonna get some food going. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Uh, I don't know exactly what I've got going on next week. I've got a lot on my plate next week. I want to do a burger. I'm definitely going to get a burger done, but I pulled some beef short ribs out of the freezer that I bought from Porter Road. I'm going to do something with beef short ribs. It'll be something you won't expect. I'm going to do beef short ribs, like I said, in a way that you won't expect. You won't see it coming, and I'm gonna try to get that done next week. So let's see. Hang on a minute. I, I'll show you that right quick. Beef short ribs. These are the Porter Road. They call them the Texas short ribs, and these things are marbled so well. I typically smoke these guys until they're jelly tender, but we're gonna do something a little different with those next week. I took them out so they'll be thawed by the time I figure out exactly what we're gonna do with it. So, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Be sure, if you haven't already, be sure and leave me a comment. Tell me where you're watching from so I can see where everybody's from. And if you've asked a question that I haven't answered or I've missed, I will go back through these tonight or tomorrow, and I'll answer any questions that you've posted up that I didn't cover here in the video. So awesome. Guys, thanks a lot. And until next week, bye bye from the Man Cave.